Hi YouTube, this is also X for ZeroZeroXvids.com or ZeroZeroXVids.com, and today we're here with BMD. He's gonna build his computer. These are all the parts he got for it, and we're gonna build them together. I'm helping him with that. As you can see, he has his nice H150i Pro for cooling. Check out that card. What is it? Geforce GTX 1080Ti. He is decking up his own computer. Look at the parts so you figure out it's a high-end. Core i7 X series and 64 gigabytes of RAM. Let's do the math. I'll explain the next portion, every single part in there, as well as the case. The case is a Corsair 1000D, Obsidian 1000D. Of course, he has his H150i Pro by Corsair for cooling the processor, which is on a Core i7 7820X 8-core processor. It's the X series. Samsung SSD, two 500 gigabytes by Samsung, 500 gigabyte SSD, the Geforce GTX 1080Ti. He has the LL120 RGB fans. He has 5 of these, each one contains 3 fans, Corsair Vengeance RGB, RAM, that's 64 gigabyte at the EVGA X299 FTWK motherboard by EVGA for the X299 for the Core i7 processor. He's got a Seagate 2 terabytes hard drive, internal hard drive, as well as Windows 10. This is the Obsidian, the Corsair Obsidian 1000D full tower ATX case. This is a completely new segment for Corsair because this case is huge. It supports 2 motherboards. You can fit an ATX and ITX motherboard in here. You have space for 2 power supplies, custom water cooling, and all that good stuff. We'll be fitting just 1 full ATX motherboard in here, 1 power supplies, 6 fans or more, 8 fans up front, 2 fans in the back, and 3 fans up top where the radiator will be mounted. On the side you see it has tempered glass panels. On the back it has these French doors for the cable management, and it has 2 tempered glass doors that we took out. Now that's the motherboard. We're installing the processor on top of the motherboard right now. All that information there, be sure that everything is good. We're installing the RAM right now, 64 gigabytes of RAM. I will proceed to install the motherboard with these 2 components already in them, in the Obsidian 1000D case. Yeah, all the RAM is secured in there. Let's put it back. Now we're installing the power supplies and checking all the cables. Go to the motherboard. They go behind the case and are managed in there. Yeah, we'll install that power supply by EVGA. It's 1200 watts provided by EVGA, the power supply by EVGA, Supernova, I believe correctly. We're following the instructions. I have anti-static wrist band. We're organizing the cables in the back again with the help of BMD's dad. And now it's time to install the liquid cooling for the processor for the i7X series. Start with that. We're gonna get a little help here, and then we have the radiator mounted. We took all of the fans out and we replaced them with the new Corsair RGB fans that we have. We bought later. Now I'm just helping here. Not all the screws match, so we're using zip ties, plastic zip ties to keep it in place up there. Now the Obsidian 1000D has these radiator mounts that you can take out and basically slide out and slide in again once you install them. Gonna install, and in front we have up to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 LED fans that you can install the same way. You can slide these fan mounts. You can install also a radiator on up front, but we won't be mounting that. We just have it with the fans, the Corsair RGB fans for airflow. and we're securing the liquid cooling by Corsair as well. It looks good so far. Now let's watch those fans at front. That's the liquid cooling mounted sideways, and there's a radiator on top. I'm gonna do BMD the honors to take out the protective plastic, that plastic layer out. And there you go, your brand new liquid cooling, closed loop liquid cooling by Corsair. You see the RAM as well, nothing is on yet. We have to install the video card, a few more components, and we'll be ready to go. You see the fans are white in color, but once it turns on the RGB, it's any color you want, or all of them at the same time if you want. We also have a couple of fan extension cables. We have a LED and fan connector hub in the back, and we're gonna need a couple of those to complete all of this build so they all turn on. Now let's set up everything to start installing the video card, the Nvidia GTX 1080Ti. Let's unbox it, let's get it open. Let's take that cover out, and the anti-static bag we have the Geforce GTX, the monster 1080Ti. Although BMD the honors of installing it with supervision, and it should look pretty good. Picking out the back. It takes one PCIe slot, and it needs PCIe power connectors, needs 2 of them only. That's good. And we always have a beefy power supply that can support a second card later on in case we need to upgrade. We can install a second Geforce GTX, and then SLI bridge them together for better graphics or better frame rates with other games. And it's installed. Install the power supply cables, the power cables. That's a good job by BMD. One more, and it's done. There it is. There's the card inserted in there, it's installed, the processor and the water cooling. Now let's work on the cable management, mostly in the back, that need to be finished out. Clean the fans, check our headers or USB 2.0, USB 3.0 headers, that they will go to the right place. Figure out that all the fans for the radiator and the pump for the Corsair Hydro cooling solution are connected. Mostly worrying about 2 things: having the video card, the motherboard, and the processor being cooled down correctly and connected everywhere. And then we worry about the LED fans, the RGB fans rather. We worry about the LED and the light that's going into aesthetics. Alright, I think we're finished. We're just working on the cable management in the back with the French doors. We finished this build. That's how it looks like right now without the tempered glass doors. We only need to install a couple of things. Let's turn on the power supply, and there's power on. The RAM powers up, the Corsair Vengeance RGB, and that tells us everything's working fine. I'll do BMD the honors to turn on the computer on the front, and we have power. We have the LED fans on the radiator work. Everything seems fine, no error codes. The only code we're getting is no input-output devices, which means we need to install a keyboard, a mouse, and a monitor. Let's do that. We boot it again, and then we have power. We have image on the monitor. It says EVGA. We Which the motherboard is working fine, so is the processor. And let's see what's this going. No error codes on the motherboard itself. Let's wait and wait for it. There it goes. We need to press a function key to go into the BIOS, which is a good idea. We need to set up the frequency, the wattage in the RAM, check the processor, it's not been overclocked yet, the motherboard and all that good stuff. We're in the BIOS right now. I'm configuring a couple stuff. We go straight to installing Windows 10. And that's pretty much it. Let's check out the next day. We installed the LED fans. The glass doors have been hinged. Windows 10 installed. It's connected to a mouse and a keyboard. We have BMD here. Let's take a look at the finished product, at the finished build on this beautiful 1000D Obsidian case by Corsair. Even the motherboard lights up. That's pretty cool. Not all the fans are sequential. We need to configure that on the Corsair iLink software or the Corsair RGB software to get all those colors to match. But that's the internals, the processor. All those 5 fans are synced, and in the front they're synced to a different layout, but we're gonna have to match them later. Let's open that tempered glass door and let's look inside the case to the components being on. As you can see down there, you can see the power supply protective case basically. You see the 64 gigabytes of RAM, the Corsair liquid cooling solution and processor, the 2 exhaust fans in the back, the Geforce GTX 1080Ti, the motherboard, the X299. The cable management is good. We need to cut those ties. This is the front with the 8 RGB lights by Corsair on those RGB fans. It's a monster of a PC. It's a great case. It's pretty spacious. We could have done a lot more things in here, but that's what is needed right now. Get good space for upgrades. This is how it looks from the outside. It is more than enough space for an ATX motherboard. As I said before, you can even fit an extra ITX motherboard, having 2 systems running at the same time with this kind of case. It is huge. It is spacious. Now let's run Fortnite on Windows 10 Pro. See BMD play there. Let's check his skills. And it also has a tempered glass cover on front and on top along the metal bars in there. That's tempered glass all around except for the back where you have the I/O, the input outputs. At some point BMD got Fortnite to run at 250 frames per second with this system, this primary system, the one we just built today. Other than that, it stays around 120, 140, goes to 200 often, but it has peaked at 250 while we were trying it for the first time here. Now this is the system build. You know how it looks, you know what you can achieve with this kind of case, and this is a very beefy solution for gaming, and there's still space for expanding the system, you know, adding custom cooling. We have a space for more radiators, extra video card. We could sell up to 3 video cards in here just fine. The radiator could be even bigger. We need to overclock the system or anything like that. So don't forget, please, to check the list of parts in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, sign up for our giveaways or VR headset giveaways, standalone VR headset giveaways. Don't forget to check our music videos on the music section and all that good stuff in our channel. Thank you for watching. This was also X with BMD for ZeroZeroX.com. This is ZeroZeroXVids.com. Thank you. Peace. and I'm out.